I covered the protests when they first broke out in Los Angeles, and they've been going on throughout the country now. They spread like wildflowers, and then some organizations got involved, and we every single time there's a protest, we know that some liberals are going to show up, particularly white liberals. They love to show up and take over and start doing their own thing. Well, they had their own rallies this weekend called No Kings, right? These No King rallies. They sprung up all over the country. They were in New York and Philadelphia and down in Florida by Trump's house, and Los Angeles and Dallas Fort Worth. You name it, they had a No Kings rally. And it's crazy how they can get organized so quickly to do these things. They have all this money to organize, but when it comes time to actually do something, they don't do shit. They don't do anything at all. But they got all this money to spend to organize and strategize. They got all these people around the country ready to go. Some of these protests have been paid provocateurs. Liberals know how to rile up a crowd. And all these people show up, right? But when it comes time to vote, the numbers just don't be there. So I want y'all to see this real quick, and then we're going to talk about it.
There have been rallies across the country opposing President Trump's agenda on the day of the president's military parade. They cap a week of demonstrations against immigration raids that began in Los Angeles and spread nationwide. Today's events in about 2,000 cities and towns were organized by the No Kings movement.
I want y'all to look at this. Look at how many protests were going on today. I mean, this weekend. Look, just take a look at this. This is absolutely crazy. Now, the stars are where they had the big rallies at, but look at where all the protests was taking at. Absolutely crazy. People just in the streets, right?
Which calls the administration's actions authoritarian. There were rallies near Mr. Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence in West Palm Beach, Florida.
No ICE! No KKK! No fascist USA!
In Boston, where it was raining. In Atlanta, with Proud Boy counter-protesters looking on. And in Philadelphia, at the flagship No Kings rally. Local officials urged protesters to demonstrate peacefully and avoid blocking roads. The No Kings protests were organized by a coalition of groups. Lisa Gilbert is co-president of one of them, Public Citizen, a progressive advocacy group. Lisa, what have you been hearing from across the country about crowd turnout and that sort of thing?
It's been amazing. We've seen, as you mentioned, 2,000 plus events, millions of people turning out peacefully to say, in America, we don't have a king. In America, we're a democracy. It's been amazing and inspiring, frankly.
So no reports of any problems, no violence, no counter-protesters?
Very limited counter-protesting and absolutely no violence. We've been very clear with folks. Events. Everyone is turning out with the same message that we've seen authoritarian excess and corruption in the Trump administration. We're watching them crack down on free speech, detaining people for political positions, and that's just not what America is all about.
It's funny how these things happen, right? We see all these things, now we want to take to the streets, but when this stuff was going on while Biden was in office, they just didn't say anything, right? It's funny. Now everything is fascist and everything else. It's it's funny how these things manifest themselves.
And people have really hewed to that message and been very clear and safe.
There was no Kings event scheduled for Washington. Why was that?
That's right. Well, as you know, in Washington, the president is simultaneously holding his bombastic birthday military parade. We wanted to make clear that we're not protesting the military. We are instead protesting the administration's authoritarian actions.
Authoritarian actions, right? The president's authoritarian actions. He hasn't really done too much of anything. I mean, he signed a bunch of executive orders, but Congress hasn't really moved on too much of anything. I mean, besides the ICE departments enforcing like immigration laws and rounding people up and doing ICE raids. But other than that,
didn't want to stand in front of the military parade, but instead have a split screen showing what the president is wasting taxpayer dollars on here in Washington and what everyone everywhere else in the country is calling for. An America they can believe in, a democracy they trust.
America they can believe in, a democracy they can trust. Funny that they say that, right? Just like when Biden was in office and his health was declining and y'all kept telling us that everything was fine. Everything was fine, right?
In the pictures we've seen from the rallies across the country, we hear a variety of chants. We see a variety of signs. Is there one specific message or objective today?
I mean, I think the main message is just they've gone too far. You know, America is predicated on the idea that we all have a voice. We all have a say. We've been watching attacks on universities, on nonprofits, on judges. You know, this is not the America we know. And I think people are truly fed up and wanted to gather to say just that. In America, we do not have a king.
This follows the hands-off protest in April, the May Day protest. Are there more planned? What's next for this coalition?
It's a great question. Yes, it's been a crescendo of action. I think more and more people, each time we organize, turn out and show their discomfort with what is happening in our country. Looking ahead, we'll see organizing on Juneteenth.
We're going to see organizing on Juneteenth. Celebration supposed to be about the freedom of black folks, but now they want to usher in this liberal ideology right on Juneteenth. Just right on time. Just right on time.
Organizing on later on in the summer around Labor Day. We expect to organize whenever we need to in a rapid response manner as well. Obviously, it's been a challenging week with what has been happening in California. We're worried about what the administration has been doing. So I would anticipate the crescendo will continue and we'll see more and more organizing and people out in the streets.
So more people out in the streets. Now, what y'all see on the screen right now, this was what they were wearing at some of these rallies. This is like the Handmaid's Tale. I don't know what these women, they Red Riding Hood, they're walking around with these red gowns on. Is this like a coat or something? I mean, sometimes you see this over in France. They walk through the streets like this. I don't know what these Handmaid Tales. I mean, maybe there's some solidarity thing, but here's a bunch of white women walking around with little Bo Peep and looking like Little Red Riding Hood. I just don't know what's going on in this thing. And they got the music. Y'all hear that? I mean, they just. I mean, what is this? What is this? What is this, y'all? I mean, they just. Man, oh man. I don't know, man. No Kings rally. I get it. You're protesting. You don't like. You think that Trump's his actions have been authoritarian, and he's ruling without an iron fist, and he's coming after judges, doing all these things. But I mean, he got tariffs. They shoehorn in a lot of things in these rallies. So you really never get like a true answer to what they really are pushing back on. I mean, she kind of kept it kind of vague. She said, we're pushing back on, we don't have a king. We're pushing back on authoritarian stuff. But they really never talk about like what it is that they want to see change, right? And that's the problem with liberals. Because liberals are good at complaining, but they're never good at problem solving. They're never good at actually coming up with anything to do something. And every time they're not in power, every time they are the minority, they do this stuff. But when they get power, they do absolutely nothing with it. And they complain and whine about conservatives when they have power, and they do the same thing when they don't have power. So at what point do liberals have power to do anything? So why would anybody want to be a liberal? And granted, conservatives are no better. I mean, they hide behind, you know, religion and the country and the Constitution and rights and all these things and everything. But then you have those voices who virtual signal and do everything and basically want to whiten America, right? So it's a crazy dynamic. It's an absolute crazy dynamic. Because on one side you got white liberals who just insane in some of the stuff that they want to do, and then you got their counterparts who don't want to do anything. I just well, I ain't gonna say that conservatives don't want to do anything. I mean, they always say that they're trying to save money, cut back this, cut that, cut this, cut that, right? But the cuts don't never seem to get to the people. It seems like it's always skimming off the top. They bark, but don't bite. Right now, they got power. It takes them forever to move on bills. They don't be getting anything done either. They kick things down the road. Why does it take them so long to get these bills to the desk, right? The big, beautiful bill still hasn't been voted on yet. Y'all know that, right? So while everybody's complaining about the bill and what it's going to do, all these things, bill still hasn't even moved. Probably won't move anytime soon. This is how our government works. They operate very, very slow. But the only thing we know is war, right? That's all we know. We just inching for another war. So these No Kings rallies, I'll be curious to see what they're going to do on Juneteenth. Hopefully they don't sabotage our day of celebrating the emancipation of our people, my ancestors. Hopefully these people don't try to hijack it and start shoehorning a bunch of other stuff into it like they normally do. And hopefully we push back because we need to preserve our heritage and our history. And we don't need to be getting bogged down with a bunch of BS.